Hi, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Lessons Learned, the dumbest thing I've ever done with money. I am here today with my friend Lee Midlane. As you guys know, I'm Suzanne. I'm the head coach at Grace Financial Coaching. And Lee is my friend from Scotland, and she is the CEO and founder of IT Central, a brick and mortar IT store that does so much more than just sell physical products. Lee is active in everything. So I am super excited to hear about what the dumb things Lee has done with money. But first, Lee, how are you?
I'm very well, thank you. How are you?
Good, good. We were just talking. There's some crazy weather going on in northern Scotland right now, but Lee has come out somewhat unscathed.
Yes, just lost the fence. Could have been much worse.
Just the fence. We got to fix the fence. Right, exactly. Well, Lee, I'm so excited to have you today. Tell us a little bit about IT Central and the other parts of your business and how you help people because you do so much.
Thank you. IT Central was first established in September of 2015. But I've been working for another IT company for a couple of years, and one of the things with businesses are they're not always set up the right way straight away. And I was effectively headhunted, which is it's very nice that you go and look after this other business. And as I was managing this other business, I could see all the things that had been done wrong. And in real terms, it wasn't savable. We got advice from different places, and the accountant and the business advisor both said, you need to let this one go and close it down. So I thought, actually, there is scope for a brick and mortar IT shop within our town. I was going to say city, but we're really small. There's only 20,000 people here, so it's really tiny. But we have a cathedral, so technically we're thinking it's a different story. Um, so I decided to make the leap. Even though I'm not a technician, I knew there was a need for an IT shop of some ilk. And my perception of IT shops up to that stage has been they're either white and shiny like apples, they're full of flat walls and row upon row of components that most mere mortals haven't got a clue what they're to do with, or it looks like somebody's garage that's not been cleared out for 40 years. And I
Mm.
really wanted to create something where anybody and everybody would feel welcome. So even if you're a 60-year-old lady, you could walk in my shop and not feel intimidated. So we went for a kind of boutique feel with it, and that's what we've done now. Um, what we realised quite quickly is people come in and essentially with the garage end of IT, we fix things, we upgrade things, we build new things, but technology really is a barrier for people. They come in and say, oh, I'm a tech dummy, I'm tech illiterate. They've never had any training, but somehow magically they think they should be able to do this. You wouldn't drive a car without taking driving lessons first and expect to pass your test. And you wouldn't run a marathon straight off without having done the training first. But we have people coming in, say, who just feel that they're really stupid when it comes to technology.
Well, I
So
have to tell you, I consider myself well, I am on the older millennial end of the demographic spectrum, but I typically tell people, my friends, fellow coaches, that I am terrible. I'm a terrible millennial because I don't know how to do this type of stuff. My college, my university had it was one of the two universities in the U.S. to have Wi-Fi, and it was a program through IBM. And I distinctly remember, one of the selling points was you can be on your computer sitting outside under a tree. Isn't that amazing? But this was very, very, very new technology back then. And so we had access to Facebook only because we were in New England and we were kind of close to where Mark Zuckerberg was. And so we had access to Facebook very early when it was still a college platform, but I didn't sign up for it. So I have always been one of those people who continually says, I am not good at this. I'm a terrible millennial. I should know how to do this because I'm a millennial and I don't. So I thoroughly appreciate your approach to that, in terms of the actual physical store and helping to train people. One of the things that you have recently launched, which I am following very closely, is your video production academy. So tell everybody about that because I think for those who are interested in it, even if they're not inclined to know what to do, this is a very, very exciting program.
sure, thank you. Um, One of the ways that we wanted to remove technology as a barrier is by developing Tech Academies. So these are online, they are bite-sized, so they're geographic free, It doesn't matter where you are in the world. We don't have limits on class sizes. We don't have issues with time zones. And the first one that we've developed is the Video Production Academy. Now you might think, well, that doesn't have a whole heap to do with IT, but my background is in television and radio production. That's where I started off. And so it's kind of like coming around full circle for me again. And of course, there's a lot of technology that you're using to create videos. So whether it's a laptop or, 90% of my filming is done on my smartphone. So it tied in really nicely with that. And we've spent the last 6 months developing a program that we've offered as a low ticket membership. And it's aimed really to help tech-stressed business owners create videos for the businesses. Because the number of times I see people in the groups that I'm in not hitting their potential because they're scared of the equipment, or they're scared of the software, or they're scared of the process. And it just trips them up. And I'm one for the underdog. I'm one of the ones that champions the people that, you've got this business, you've got this amazing message, you've got something to give to the world, and actually your ability to use your smartphone or your laptop is stopping it from getting out there. And so that's what we wanted to do, is actually take that barrier away and help people in a really practical way in little teeny tiny bite-sized steps so nobody gets overwhelmed, get to where they need to be with it. So we've got some people who, are really scared of even pressing the button on the smartphone. And we've got other people that I can see are going to get really into it and are going to be really keen on developing, filming side of things and go a long way technically. And the lovely thing is, it doesn't matter if you've just got a smartphone or if actually your ambition is to be a filmmaker, there's something in there for everybody.
That's awesome. And while you were talking, Lee, I put the links to both the website and the Facebook page up. So if you guys are watching this live or if you're watching the replay, you can just click the link in the comments and you can get a hold of Lee and her amazing program. So Lee, I created this show to help other people realize that we all make financial mistakes and we can learn from the experience of others. So Lee, what is the dumbest thing you've ever done with money?
Oh, it's just easy. So a year or so ago, about 18 months ago, the UK went into lockdown, as did most of the world. And so I had time, because although my business was kind of operational, I was working from home, I wasn't able to do a lot of the things that I would normally be doing. And so with the idea of doing the Tech Academies, I thought I need to do some training around this. Fantastic, no worries. I enrolled on Stu McLaren's side course, which I did. It was basically all our life savings at that stage. It was a lot of money to do that, but I could see the value of it because my business was at a point of doing this giant pivot from where we were to setting off into this post-COVID world. And so it was really important to have that investment. So that was great. So I did the 10 weeks of that. I was fired up. I had these ideas. It was amazing. And then another course got promoted that was another $2,000. And I thought, that's amazing. This course fits with that course and all of this will fit together. And I spent the money. And it was a stupid idea for a couple of reasons. Because I did a course straight after a course, I wasn't implementing what I'd learned at that stage. And education without implementation is just entertainment. So basically, I wasn't getting anywhere for the money that I'd invested. And the other part of it was, because I had really enjoyed doing one course and the approach, I expected to be able to just crack on with another course, but the approach to it was so completely different. I went from something that was 10, 15-minute videos that you could access as and when to 3-hour live seminars.
Oh.
And my brain just kind of went, I don't have time for this. And I never completed it. So it was a huge, huge waste because, we're not affluent people. That was all the money that we had. And there's a guilt with it because I spent that money and then we've not made use of it because I feel that I can't access it because the style of it was completely different. A friend of mine subsequently said to me, because I am a serial course collector, and it's a shiny object syndrome and I'm away, and he said to me, focus, follow one course until successful. And I use that all the time now. And if I'd have had that at that stage, then I wouldn't have taken on the second course because I would have said, I haven't had time to implement. I really need to get my money's worth out of this first course, see where I'm at, and then if I feel I need to have another course, then it needs to be appropriate to the needs that I have at that time to develop the business at that stage. I didn't need to spend the money that I had. And actually, it saved me thousands of dollars because I haven't jumped into other courses. I haven't, gone for other things. And there are times where there's low ticket items, you get a Black Friday sale and you get all these courses and it's only $40. I'll have that and put it away for later.
Right.
So I do still buy a few courses, but not at the same huge ticket level as where I was at before.
Okay, so I love that you're still buying them, but they're on sale. They're much more affordable. They're the ones that you can access over and over. Oh, Candace. Hi, Candace. She says, good morning. I do this all the time. I buy the course without implementing. I had to stop this months ago. Amen, Candace. I know. You're preaching to the choir over here, right? We're all serial learners.
Oh, yeah.
So how would you tell someone like myself or Candace or somebody who is a serial learner, someone who is like, I know that I don't know it all, and I know there are other people out there who know more than I do, and I just want to suck it all up and absorb all of it and breathe it all in and learn every detail of it. What would you tell those people who feel like they might be missing out by not purchasing those courses?
When we have these digital coaches, they're out there to sell a product. So if we don't catch it this year, we'll catch it next year, even when they're only doing an annual launch with it. So there is somebody who I've watched for the last 2 years, and one day I will get into his program, but it's not going to be this year. Maybe next year if the business is in a different position and we've got the time, but it will come round again. So I know that one of the big sales things is scarcity and FOMO. And it is a huge thing. I mean, there's one at the moment that I keep seeing, and I don't need it, but I keep seeing it, and it looks really good. And it's really cheap, and I could do that, and I'm sure I'd make use of it. But, let's just click the tab close. And it's about a little bit of self-discipline with it as well. If you remember, focus is the really big one for me, is to follow one course and feel successful. Because that, every time I look at another course, that kind of slaps me around the head and goes, no, get back on track. And then the other one was the quote that I heard quite recently: "The education without implementation is entertainment." And that's massive. If all I'm doing is watching people teach and I'm not implementing it, actually it's of no value whatsoever. So, we can be a little bit frugal with this and make sure we get our money's worth out of what we've bought and stretch it to the max.
Right.
And you can guarantee that by the time you get to the next stage of your business, if you're doing just-in-time learning, there will be a course, there will be a coach, there will be somebody there who has got an offer for you on what you need at that time.
Yeah, I think that's a great point, especially in the post-COVID world that we live in now, where everything has had to become virtual, no matter what country you're in. For a period of time, nobody was meeting with anybody. It didn't matter where you were. And it's a benefit where someone can sign up for your video production academy. Our friend Candace, who commented earlier, she's on the West Coast of the US, but she could sign up. She doesn't need to, sit there through that 3-hour live course like you were talking about earlier. We have much more opportunity now, and we do need to get out of that scarcity mindset that you mentioned earlier. The younger millennials and Gen Z call it FOMO, like you said. They don't want to miss out on anything. But it's true. Someone is always going to be there to help you. There's always going to be a coach now, especially in this day and age. There's always going to be a coach out there to help you with something. There's always going to be a program for you to purchase. And even I love how you've been following that gentleman for 2 years and you haven't purchased his course because you know that you're not going to get out of it what you should get out of it if you buy it right now. And you have to wait until you're ready. There are so many things we purchase that we buy before we're ready, right? It's not just courses, cars, houses,
clothes that are 2 sizes smaller than you are, because one day you're going to fit into them, and they look great. So they sit there in the wardrobe, and by the time you can fit into them, they're kind of not the right style anymore, and so they have to go anyway.
Or you don't even like it anymore and you realize that color looks terrible on you. Lee, this is such great information. I put in the comments, focus, follow one course until successful. Please thank your friend for imparting that knowledge on
I will
you and
do.
then on us. That is such good. And education without implementation is entertainment.
Yeah.
Amazing. It's so
Great,
true,
isn't
especially
it?
for, like I said, the serial learners out there. We've got to realize that we don't always need to be in a training course in order to be bettering ourselves. We can be implementing what we learned in the last course to better
And
ourselves and our businesses.
you only have so much mental real estate to be able to deal with things. So if you're constantly in learning mode, then actually you don't have the bandwidth to step outside of that. So you actually need to give yourself a break from the learning anyway, to be able to go, okay, let's have a think and see where we're going to go next. You need to have the space sometimes to dream, to imagine, and I think if you're constantly in learning mode, you probably take a lot of that capacity away.
Yes, absolutely. I totally agree. Beautiful. Lee, I am so excited that you joined us today. It was good to catch up with you. Lee and I have known each other for a while now, and she always has very good input. And I want to thank you for sharing the dumbest thing you've ever done with money, Lee. If you guys signed, I saw a bunch of people jump on late today. So if you missed the first half of our discussion, please make sure you jump over to the YouTube channel, Grace Financial Coaching, and catch the entire replay. And next week, we will do another episode of Lessons Learned, the dumbest thing I've ever done with money. Thanks again, Lee.
You're welcome. Thank you.